a sense of what's in the second and third one.
Okay, sounds good. Okay. All right, give me a second to
While we wait, how's everybody else doing? Some of you guys popped in a little later. How's everybody doing? Pretty good? Thank you very much. Well, Twan, you got power back, man? You out of the dark?
Yeah, I got power back.
Okay,
I'm back.
Good deal. Good deal, man.
Okay, can you guys hear me okay?
Yep, you're good.
Okay, all right. So our first Canvas, we thought we would focus on users being able to log in and managing the events. So with some current technologies, the UI just looks aesthetically just too complicated or too busy. And current technologies also require payments to create these events. And also, in order to form an event, you have to have a group affiliated with it. So that's, not cool if you just want to have an event and not, maybe it's just a one-time event or maybe just twice a year or something like that. And then also current technologies show a list of events. So what we would like to do with our app is we would like people to be able to use it for free so they can register, log in, and create an event for free. Host events without them being affiliated with a group. And then we would like it, instead of a list, we would like it to be like a map primarily. And then our marketing message is creating a new space to create and manage events with easy to use interface. We really want to keep it really simple. We don't want anything slowing down our app or anything like that. So we just want it to be just basically like a map and then have some things. But we can get to that, I believe, in a different one. Some objectives we had were events can always be free and accessible with ease to everyone to host and attend. And then events have no dependencies like groups. They are free and a quick setup. Some key results we identified were users can register and log in, users can create and manage events, and users can view a map of their location. With the idea kind of being we would like people to just be able to check out events primarily that are like close to them, to sort of take the work out of getting to the event. Because sometimes if something's too far away, people don't, want to leave the house. So some UX research. Since we don't really have a UX person yet, we're just sort of trying to follow standard design patterns for nav bars, buttons, and forms. Just to sort of elaborate on that a little bit. Like, we don't want to reinvent the wheel or anything. We just want to keep it to what users are used to seeing. So like for a button, we would have like a hover or like a pointer or something like that. So just kind of repeating those things that you always see. Some competitor or future research. After reviewing our competitors, we identified Meetup, Eventbrite, Facebook, and Google is also providing a similar service. For Meetup, we found that users can view events before logging in, but must pay to create a group before making an event. And then there's also a monthly subscription fee. And then for Eventbrite, users can log in and pay for the event, but they must be hyper aware of event details. Eventbrite was very inflexible, we found, with ticket dates and user refunds. Facebook accounts allow them to view an RSVP for events. Facebook shows local events and your friends attending the event. You must have a Facebook account to interact with these events, though. And then Google, users can get a search result of events near them only if it's what the user is searching for. So it lists links to events or links to buy tickets. Users can save events to get reminders about the event tied to their Google Calendar. We've kind of found it to be an odd choice for a selection of event times. Our technical research, we decided we want to use the frameworks like React, just because we're very familiar with React and its library. It's also kind of like a hot thing right now in tech, and it's like kind of what everyone's using. So we want to stay current with that. Node.js, the majority of our team has worked with Node. Everyone except for me, I think, has used Node. So we're gonna be using Node, and I am just gonna be learning Node from my team. So it'll be a good learning experience for me. We're gonna use Postgres SQL. The easiest way for us to have persistent data is with SQL, and we're most of the team is also familiar with it. Auth0 allows users to sign in with other accounts. So that would be nice for, like, if they wanted to sign in with their Facebook account and stuff like that. Google Maps API, we're going to utilize this by watching some tutorials and stuff like that. And then for the design, we want to see the UI, because there's a lot of, it'll make the design easier for us. And then there's a lot of documentation and examples that we can use. We did have we had one customer survey that we sent out, and the research that we found that would pertain to like this feature canvas was that we found most attendees want to see events that are close to them, and then most attendees want to see free and paid events. So people are interested in both. Some questions that came up during our meetings for this feature canvas, we were wondering when analytics came into play, and then we were wondering, or we were also trying to decide what features meet the basic problem we're trying to solve.
Is that an open question?
No, Brent gave us pretty good feedback as far as answering that. We kind of broke down what we were trying to achieve in each one into simpler goals. One of the things that he was talking about, we were including the map in this first canvas, even though initially we were kind of talking about just basic CRUD functionality for users and events. And what we wanted to do in this was also map the events to the map, but we realized that that's kind of overextending ourselves for this feature canvas. But we also decided that no matter what, we do want to render the map, which is something that we think is like well within our means for this first one.
So
I'm sorry.
You would just be plotting the points of the events on a map?
Yes, and I think that's in our second feature canvas.
Okay. Sorry to interrupt. Keep going.
Oh, one of the things that we were just wanting a little bit of direction on was the technical research and like whether we had, I don't know, whether we were meeting that or not.
I mean, this is all like pretty like boilerplate stuff, right? Like React, Node, Postgres, Auth0, Material UI. Those are all, you should all have those pretty well down by now, I think. And did you mention that you were from the Java backend when you were presenting? You didn't do Node?
We lost her.
Yeah, Anne has a Java backend. She
Yeah.
didn't do Node, but she is learning Node.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was on mute.
No problem.
I was talking. I'm sorry. Okay, yeah, I have Java. I just got my Java badge actually yesterday. So.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, I was excited. Yeah.
So the rest of you all came from Node, and then we put Anne with you from Java?
Yep.
All right. So
I wanted to learn Node anyway, so it's working out.
I was going to apologize for making a mixed team. That was kind of something we didn't anticipate, where the Node students coming in. We didn't really know that there were different backends when we were making the teams. So
well, I think during my survey it like asked like what backend languages are you interested in doing? And I think I put like Ruby, and I think I put Node.js. And then I think it asks like, would you be willing to, I think it asked a question if you were like willing to work on a team that you, or something about like learning a new backend language. And I put yes. So I think maybe that's how I got here.
Yeah.
If I remember right. So
That's probably how it happened.
yeah.
So I appreciate your courage in jumping in there. I think like from a technical perspective, all of these technologies are reasonable choices for the things you're trying to accomplish. There's nothing here that's like off the wall. Google Maps API is really well documented and should be pretty straightforward to implement. So I don't think there's anything in this section that really scares me a lot. Most of my feedback would be just in general on the feature canvas. If you jump up to the top when you're discussing the problems, it feels like most of these problems are really located on like contrast from a competing site, and not so much like based on what a user is trying to accomplish and like a user's problem. They're more like problems with other existing tools. So I would like you to revise this and just edit it. So instead of leading with like current technologies for your 4 problems, just be like, rephrase each of those problems in a user wants a way to create, user has a problem where they need to do this thing, and just focus all of the language in this like as a user. Because that's really what we're trying to accomplish. Like we're trying to build a tool for our users. We don't really care about competitors, and like competitors are going to be a distraction in most cases. So you want to really focus in on your users. And if you make a tool that that they like more than anything in the anything else in the market, like that's really how you establish yourself. And you don't like go there by building something that's different than a competitor. You go there by talking to your customers and like figuring out what they want. And like some of those features are going to overlap and some of them are not going to overlap, but you just need to like have the user's interest as your North Star. So for that section, just like rewrite each of those problems and really like when we got down at the end, like I think you guys arrived at a good conclusion when you were like, look, people need a way to do this that's like simple and easy and that's free to set up. I think that's like a reasonable place to land. I want to see like the journey to get us there, to follow like that same pattern of like building a solution for a user. So I think your features are right on. And I think you're properly scoped, right? Like one thing that we've seen a lot of with these feature canvases is a lot of groups will have way too much work in their first feature release. I don't think you guys are in the way too much work category. I think you have a big feature release here, but I think it should be achievable with what you're trying to do. I really like what you have as objectives. I think are really good. Those are really good examples of an objective because those can be kind of like North Stars for your entire project, right? That you want the events to be free and accessible and easy and not have any dependencies. And it seems like you're trying to be like a really streamlined solution. I think those are terrific objectives. Your UX research, that's not really applicable since you do have no UX members on your team. And then your competitor feature research. You're jumping in, competing with some of the big boys, Facebook and Google. Like those are big companies. But I definitely think that there's like a place in the market for a non like social network connected event planning tool. That's like one of the big complaints about Facebook is like, as people are getting like more privacy aware and like keen to like decouple themselves from social media sites, having like a good, solid like events is the only thing that keeps a lot of people still on Facebook. So building a tool that's not like tied to a social media account, I think there's a big place for that in the market. So, I'm pretty enthusiastic about You know, the potential of this project, I think like this could be a really useful, great tool. My feedback is just to edit that first little section to put the users centric and not the competitors, and then like try to just keep that in mind as we're moving forward. Like what we always want to see on like any kind of feature planning or user research document or process is just like keep the users front and center. So I mean, I think you guys can probably knock those out today. If you want to, when you've got it all done and edited, like CJ, if you want to take a look at it once they've got it done, and then you can pass them off in the green light at that point. Like
Okay.
this conditional approval. So make those couple of changes, pass them off with CJ, and then you guys are ready to get cracking on Monday. I mean, or later this afternoon. Like I mean, you know, you have a few hours left. I don't expect it'll take that long to edit 5 sentences, but so yeah, is there anything else that you guys need or that I can help out with today?
We were looking at setting up the Google API key stuff, and we weren't sure, like, does it actually require putting in like bank information and stuff like that? Or
I think we've got a Lambda Labs account. CJ, you've got access to the Labs account, right?
Not yet, but I probably should.
Yeah, you definitely probably should. CJ, talk to Ed and get these guys some API keys.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you guys, if there's, and this goes for the rest of the project, if there's a premium service that you guys need to sign up for, don't feel like you have to give them your own credit card. Like Labs will pay for that kind of stuff. Most of the time we probably already have an account with that provider because, you know, we'll pay for like one account and give it to 10 Labs groups, like things like Twilio and stuff. We've got hundreds of projects on our account. So if there's a service like that you need, just run it up the pole through CJ and we'll pay for it.
Awesome. We have things like that in the works farther down the line.
All right.
Your campuses. So
let us know. We got it.
Sweet. All right, guys.
So, everybody, have a good Friday. Have a nice weekend. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, you too. Have a good weekend.
Bye, everybody.
All right, guys. I'll connect with you guys whenever Preston hits me up and says you guys are ready to go.
Okay.
Sweet.
Thanks.
All right. Yep. Later.
Later.
Bye.